So first of all, thank you so much, Andrea, for inviting me. It's really a pleasure. And I've written a book about psychotherapy from a perspective of healing, and I'm just putting the final touches to it. So just is like the perfect time for me to be here, because this book is fresh in my mind, and I'm just so excited to share some of what's in there. But I don't know you and what you do very well. I've talked to Ashley a little bit. So I don't want to speak like without asking you what you know a little bit. So that's why I want this to be an interactive and not just lecture, because I could be repeating things you already know. My experience though is that it's not common knowledge yet, and so that's why I'm hoping this book is going to be bringing that knowledge more into the mainstream. But it's not necessarily material that's unique for the most part. I've talked to other counselors who operate the same way, and I'll say in a minute what I mean by that. But it hasn't reached the mainstream. I still have clients who come and feel hurt by the system, feel hurt by their therapist, haven't done any progress in years of therapy. So there's a lot of changes, and there's a lot of betterness that could come into the world of therapy. So I'll give you a little bit background of who I am and how I got there, and then I'd like to hear just very quickly what you love about what you're doing. So I wanted to be a therapist since I was 17. I had read some Freud and some Jung, and I just loved Jung because to me he was speaking to human nature as opposed to bringing a theory to explain everything. When I read Freud, it was about his interpretation of dreams, and I thought to myself, I could come up with another interpretation. Why is his more interesting than mine? And I felt I could argue with him. But when I read Jung, I felt I understood human spirit better. And it's hard to read. Jung is not easy to read. And it's not that I want to be a therapist like him. But there was something about what he was saying that opened my space of understanding. And I was attracted to that. So at 17, when somebody asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I was surprised to hear my answer saying, I want to be a psychotherapist. It's like, oh, I've been thinking about that. It's just, you know, I knew I belonged there. I wanted to articulate thoughts in the world of therapy, and I wanted to contribute to it. But when I took psychology courses, I was totally turned off. Because to me, it wasn't opening my heart and my mind to understanding the human spirit. It was closing the space into theories and dogmas. And I wouldn't have been able to articulate that at that time, but I now know what it is that was bothering me then. So I quit, and I went into a totally different field. I went into math, because that was my other love, and I did statistics for medical research. And I got a PhD in that, and I did that for a decade before somebody, a friend of mine, invited me to a yoga class, which I had sworn I would never do in my life. But I always want to help people, and she says, Luc, would you come to this yoga class? It's for people with back trouble, and she had a vertebrae sticking out more than a half an inch off the rest of her spine. So I knew it was meaningful to her, and I wanted to support her, so I went and took that class. It was called an Iyengar yoga style class. And Iyengar yoga is perfecting each posture one at a time. It's not the meditative type of yoga, it's a very structural kind of yoga. It was perfect for her. you have kids, you can just make sure your kids know how to help improve the world. You don't have to do more than that. Or you can be Jesus Christ and try to improve the whole world. Right? I mean, and there's anything in between. It depends on what you need to learn and what you need to give. So let's do an experiment. Close your eyes for a second and remember something horrible that happened in your life. And feel where in your body you feel that. Feel all the sensations. Forget the emotion of it. Remember the sensation of it. What sensations? Are they dull? Are they prickly? Does it feel like fire? Does it feel like ice? Does it feel like a constriction? Does it feel like an explosion? Physically, feel all those sensations. And I'm going to ask you to give them space, to not be afraid of what you're feeling. Be curious about what that pain is about, that tension, in its sensation, in the way it expresses itself. And give it all the space in the world, like it can invade your whole body or beyond, into the space outside of your body. And feel how it's shifting as you do that, as you give it space. In a way, you're loving it. You're giving it compassion. Do you feel things moving, shifting, or are they completely stuck inside of you? Yes?
Yes.
You're looking for words, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels like a warm sensation.
Uh-huh. Have you done this kind of exercise before?
No,
Okay.
not purposely.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to share what you experienced?
In the beginning, it was very rapid and very almost agitated. And then as I breathed into it and I gave it compassion and love, it calmed.
Yeah.
It had less of an effect on me, and I could still feel it, but it wasn't as abrupt
Right.
or agitated.
Right. Can you all relate to that, or was your experience different?
I can't find mine. I can't find where it is.
So, but you have an image of something horrible, and you can't feel it in your body.
I can't find, yeah.
So it's intellectual, this memory? You
No.
look like you could cry, though.
I could.
Right, so you feel it somewhere.
And I think that's why I stopped it. I stopped it because if I keep thinking about it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna cry, and I don't want to
Okay.
cry.
Yeah, right.
So if I keep going
But
through
you,
that thought,
but you see how powerful this is, right?
yeah.
I don't have to talk about your problem. I can help you connect with it. And if you allow yourself in a therapeutic environment with somebody who really cares about you and you trust, if you allow yourself to go there, you can release the trauma of it. Maybe not in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but over a period of time, by revisiting it and revisiting it and revisiting it. And when you're really feeling the completion of the letting go of it, the trauma is completely gone. It's like giving birth to yourself. So what happens with trauma is that it's inside of your body somewhere. It's trapped. You're not visiting it because you're scared of it. We are scared of it. And then it influences everything you do in life. Because it's like putting yourself in a jail and you can't get out of that jail. And so you can't really be fooling yourself with the world. Because there's that place in you that's scared of touching that trauma. But I'm going to give you a secret. That trauma is the link to your purpose in life. So as you release that trauma, you release the fear of being completely yourself.